saying certain things, because here's what I had to come to grips with. Um, if I continue to say, this is what the devil was doing, this is what the devil was doing, this is what the devil was doing, if I kept saying that, what I was in essence saying is that the devil had more power over me than God. So then God said, I'll watch over my word to do what? To perform it. So as long as I keep his word in me, that means he is obligated now to watch over me. Why? Because his word is in me, and wherever his word is, he's obligated himself to watch over that thing. And so I put his word in me. So then the Lord started dealing with me and saying, stop saying this is what the devil is doing. So I had to stop saying, oh, the devil is attacking, my head, making me have migraines. The devil was doing. I stopped saying that, and because that's what we were taught. We were just taught anytime something goes wrong, it's the devil. Anytime something don't feel right, it's the devil. We was just taught that. But in essence, what we're saying is that the devil has more authority. He has more power. He has more influence over us than God. And so when I came to the realization, I had to stop saying all of that. Even when I pray now, I don't even address the devil. I pray according to the will of God, because see, whatever is in his will, it's going to be what's best for me. And I already know that Satan is defeated. Why I got to keep talking to somebody that's already defeated? And so we have to learn as leaders to acknowledge our limitations. Again, if you want to call in, if you want to appear on, let me know. I'll bring you on. If you want to come on live with me and give your thoughts or opinions on this subject about leadership and dealing with depression and anxiety. This is September is National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and I really want to tackle this all month long, particularly as it pertains to leaders. And so the call-in number is 605-313-5826. The access code is 732492. The phone line is open if you want to call. I'll take your call and get you on the air, and you can have your say. YouTube, thank you for coming back in. I apologize. It kept saying, you guys were saying I was freezing in and out. So what I did, I had to shut you all the way down. So thank you for coming back. All right. And so we have to acknowledge our own limitations. We are not God. We are godly, but we are not gods, And so sometimes, I said this earlier, and I'll reiterate this point. Sometimes pastors develop some kind of God complex. I was sharing with you during one of my counseling sessions with my personal therapist. This is what she was telling me. This is why she was telling me she sees such a high number of pastors coming through with clinical depression, clinical burnout, anxiety and depression, is because after a while, and it's true. Those of you that are in leadership, it's true, because after a while, people start depending on you more than they depend on God. Even if you tell them, don't put me on the pedestal, even if you try to teach them, talk to God. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Mr. Washington. And even if you try to tell them, talk to God. So sometimes what happens is they get so accustomed to coming to us, they're thinking it's us doing the work. We'll lay hands and pray over them and they'll get healed. We'll lay hands and pray over them, speak a word into their life, and the door will open for them. So now they're starting to see us as not only their closest connection to God, but now they're starting to see us kind of like almost a small replica of God, if you will. So in the minds of people that are reaching for God, that are reaching for answers, reaching for help, reaching for strength, reaching for hope, reaching for love, and then here we are, we're in that space, almost like between them and God, almost, because that's where they see their pastor. They see their pastors as the link between them and God. So what happens is, after a while, and pastors may not tell you this, but after a while, it starts to sink in that, hey, I am that link between the people and God. That's right. And so they begin to make idols out of the pastors. And if we are not careful as pastors, we'll take on the role of idols without even knowing it. And so now the people are more prone to come to us, and we are more prone to tell them and want them. Now we need them to come to us to keep us feeling like they have made us feel. There's a certain euphoria that comes about when you know that people need you, when you know that people want you. People can't make a decision without talking to you. There's a certain level of euphoria that goes through the brain and it feeds the body that happens when all of this is going on. And all of this, while it's going on, what's happening, here's what's happening. What's happening, God's saying, wait a minute. Now I'm told you, I have no other God before me. But in your mind, you're not thinking that you're actually becoming a little God. You're not actually thinking you're becoming an idol. And I know this to be true because I've had people that wouldn't even make a decision about a job unless they called me and talked to me first. Grown people, grown men, grown women. Some of them were older than me, but because we have those titles and we hold those positions, not only do people respect us, they expect us to have an answer for them. Did y'all hear what I said? Not only do they respect us, but they also expect us to have an answer for them. It is up to us. It's up to us, and it's incumbent upon us as leaders to say, hold on a minute, I don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. Let me get back to you on that. I don't know right now. Let's pray together about that. What do you think is best for you and your family? We don't take that role. We just keep heaping it on to ourselves. And so what wind up happening is, instead of leading the people to God, we sometimes wind up leading them to ourselves. And that's where the problem come in. The problem is not necessarily that the people are not praying for us. The problem is not necessarily that the people are not doing their jobs. The problem is not necessarily that the people are not serving correctly. We need to stop putting that erroneous information out there as if the people are responsible for the mental state or the mental health of their leaders. That is so not true. That is so erroneous. That is so inaccurate. Okay. And it's putting too much pressure on the people. So you got people that are coming in that's already got their own pressure. And then you're going to make them responsible for you as a leader as well. Guys, that's unfair. All right. That's unfair. So the first thing we have to do, we have to acknowledge our own limitations. All right. The second thing we have to do, we got to take responsibility for our own mental well-being. Again, it's irresponsible to ask a sheep to care for the shepherd. That's just irresponsible. You're negating your duties and you're trying to put off your responsibilities on somebody that cannot be responsible. That'll be like me telling my 16-year-old, that she needs to provide for me. Irresponsible and out of order. It is not the members or the sons or the daughters, whatever you guys call your members or what have you. It's not their responsibility to make sure that you as a leader, your pastor, or you as a apostle or bishop or whatever you are, is mentally well. It's an unfair burden to put on anybody to make someone responsible for such a huge undertaking. That's a huge deal. That's a heavy cross to bear. It's our responsibility to take steps to our recovery. Absolutely. Whatever you've gone through, whether it be divorce, you got to recover from divorce, because divorce is just like somebody dying. After you've been with somebody a long time, I was married for 20 years, and it was a hard divorce, and it took me a long time to recover from it, and we were both pastors, and so when you go through things, you go through these stressors, these ups and downs, these high and lows in life, you got to take time and deal with it, because if not, it'll deal with you. I remember when my dad died, I didn't really grieve properly. I refused to cry when my dad died. 3 months after my dad died, uh, I remember being in the shower, and I was married at the time. I remember being in the shower, and it hit me all of a sudden that my dad was gone. And the grief hit me so hard because I had not grieved. I just refused to cry. We kept running to church, like, kept doing church. We kept going to church, kept doing church, and I never took time to just sit in my grief and mourn my dad. So 3 months after my dad died, I remember being in the shower, and all of a sudden the reality of my dad being gone hit me. And the only thing I could remember, I remember not being able to move. It was like I was frozen in time. And the next thing I remember was my husband at that time coming to get me out the shower, off the floor in the shower. I totally broke down, totally melted. Instead of, how grief comes in waves, because I never grieved my dad. When my dad died, because I never grieved him, all that grief came on me at one time. And when it hit me so hard, it just overwhelmed me. So I said that to tell leaders, take time, go through the process, like Mr. Washington said, take time and work your steps. Do what you got to do to make sure that you're okay. Whatever you got to recover from, take your time and recover. Step down for a minute if you have to. Put an assistant up there. Put your spouse up there. Put somebody in that position until you can get it together. If not, I'm telling you, that's why we're seeing so many male pastors commit suicide, than anybody else, because it's hard for a man to step down and say, listen, I can't do this right now. I need to take some time. I need to step down for a minute. So number 3, get professional clinical counseling by a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a psychotherapist. Again, remember, I tell you, don't get intimidated by the words. Psychotherapist is just somebody to go talk to. A psychiatrist is a doctor that you go talk to about mental health, and they can prescribe you medication. Okay. Psychologist is somebody that you go and talk to one-on-one. Okay. And so you should be, here's what I wrote down. It should be mandatory when we issue licenses, when we do ordinations or affirmations, whenever we do things like that, any form of promoting people into a leadership capacity, whether it be as a pastor, whether it be as a bishop, whether it be as a prophet, whether it be as an apostle or an evangelist, anything that they're going to have to deal in close proximity with people on a day-to-day basis, I think it should be mandatory that they at least have a session or so with a trained professional before we give them license. And then I think every so often we ought to bring in a trained professional into our leadership conferences, into our leadership meetings. If you hold them once a month, why don't invest a little bit of money or try to partner with a psychologist or a psychiatrist or psychotherapist. Have them come in and talk to your ministers, talk to your preachers. We got to stop being so afraid to talk about mental health, and because listen, our leaders this is what's happening. Our leaders are at a disadvantage when they don't have the proper tools that they need to fare well in life. You can have all the money, but we're seeing money won't keep you sane. Money won't keep you healthy. We're seeing all that. We see rich people die all the time, leave millions and billions of dollars. Can't take it with you. Literally, you can't. And so what we have to do, we have to arm ourselves with information, okay? And with intelligent information, with intelligent conversation, relevant information that's going to do what? Remember what I started out saying, to cause not just restoration, but to cause reformation to come to the church, because ultimately that is our goal. Our goal is to see reformation come to the church. I said it, I said it again, and I'll probably say it again before we're done. We will not see reformation without conversation. We cannot have conversation without relevant information. All right. So bishops, apostles, overseers, pastors, we should make sure those who serve under us, hear me well, and with us, have access to professional and clinical counseling. I have never seen such a time where it was every man for himself and God for us all. We're in these organizations, we're in these associations, and we're left to fend for ourselves when it comes to this issue of mental illness. As long as you're giving your money, somebody told me you got to pay to sit high. you know well, you keep paying, and I'm just gonna sit where the Lord tells me to sit. you know and so, as long as you're doing stuff like that, then you can have a seat at the table. But what happens when you don't have the mental fortitude to get to the table? Is somebody gonna get up from the table and come see about you? That's what I want to know. You can have a seat at the table, but when you don't have the mental fortitude to get to the table, will somebody at the table get up from the table and come see about you? That's what you got to start asking yourself. And some of us are in these organizations, in these associations, where if we don't have the mental fortitude to make it to the table, nobody from the table is going to get up and come see about us. That's what I found out. And so I had to make a decision. um, I'm gonna get up from the table, and I'm going to see about me and make sure I'm okay. Because it doesn't matter. You can be the best at what you do. You can be the most skilled at what you do. But when something like a long-term illness hits you, you guys know I talk about my brain tumor, having brain tumors all the time. Something like that hit you. You know, or being diagnosed with depression, or you go through a death or divorce or something like that, you'll find out who's really for you when you really have to go through something really traumatic. So I said this: every bishop, every apostle, every overseer, every pastor that have people serving under you, you, sir, you, ma'am, should make sure your people have access to professional and clinical counseling. If you got to bring somebody in once a month, pay them an hour or two to come sit with your ministerial staff. That's how you show me you care. I can feed myself. I don't necessarily need you, to just give me some chicken and all of that. No, give me the tools I need to fare well in ministry, because that's where we are. We need tools that will work. All right. So if you are a bishop and you're listening to me, if you're an apostle and you're listening to me, if you're an overseer and you're hearing my voice, if you're a pastor, if you're hearing my voice and you have people that serve underneath you, I'm charging you this day to make sure your people have access to professional clinical counseling. Not this, everybody open your Bible, let's see what the word of God says about being sad, or let's read a scripture on joy. If you want joy, leap for it. I'm not even talking about all that, because none of that has anything to do with mental illness. None of it. Okay. All right. So number 4, if you need medication, that's not a sin. We're so afraid of so many things until I can't wrap my head around some of the stuff I hear Christian leaders say, particularly in our Black communities. It's like, so you would rather walk around with a chemical imbalance, versus going and get medication that will help you, help that thing balance itself out and give you some relief and give you some degree of normalcy, that will improve your quality of life, because a lot of things that we go through, a lot of illnesses and things that we go through, it affects our quality of life. Cancer, it'll affect your quality of life. High blood pressure, diabetes, tumors, all of that will affect your quality of life. And so when your quality of life is affected, it's almost instinctive that the brain will go into a depressive state. you know, because you can't do what you used to do. You don't have the strength that you used to have. All of those things are triggers for depression, particularly in leaders, because we have this notion that no matter what, you know, we just got to keep going. That's my next point. But let me stay here for a second. Medication is not a sin. Needing medication is not a sin. You know, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep at all. I would stay awake some nights, just just awake, just awake. Because I couldn't sleep. Because I was actually um, in both instances, my one of my best girlfriends, I was literally there while she was dying, and then my daughter died a few months later, not even a year later. I literally was holding her hand while she took her last breath. You know, so those things, you know, would keep me awake at night. You know, I would see their faces. I was like, Lord, did I pray enough? Did I have enough faith? You know, because I remember one time my daughter asked me, she said, Mom, why can't you just wave your hand over me and tell God, give me one of those miracles that He gave you? And that always has stuck with me. You know, even after she died, I was like, God, why didn't you, do for her what you did for me, And so I felt guilty about that for a long time. So I wasn't sleeping at night. So I finally went to my therapist, and I would, because I wasn't sleeping, then it would trigger migraines, So I would go in to see my therapist. I would have to have shades on, and because the light would bother me. Everything was really, I was super sensitive to everything, super sensitive to food. So I wasn't eating like I should be. She was like, Are you eating? She was like, Every time I see you, you're getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So I was like, Yeah, I'm eating. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm eating. She was like, Are you at church? Yeah, everything's good. Good. But really, I wasn't. So finally, I dropped the act. I got tired of pretending. You know, um, to save face. Basically, I was pretending to save face. Even when I would go to church, dress up, sit where I'm supposed to sit, do what I'm supposed to do, you know. But inside, I was like, it got to a point I would go to church and I would be like, why am I here? Why am I here? You know, anywhere I would go that was church related, I mean, why am I here? Because I was looking for help, but I couldn't find the help I needed. Not at church, I didn't. And so finally, I went to the doctor and I told her, I said, I can't sleep. I said, I'm staying awake from one day to the next. There were days I stayed awake some days until the sun would come up the next day, you know. And so she said, Well, I can give you something to help you sleep. So I was like, Okay. So she gave me Ambien, and Ambien works really well for me. It's just a matter of me making sure I have enough time to sleep. And so I'm not afraid. I'm not ashamed to tell people, get the help you need. You know, you keep listening to these super spiritual people and you keep walking around here imbalanced, whether it be from a chemical perspective or whether it be from something that was really traumatic or stressful that happened, whatever caused it, there is a remedy for it, and I'm not negating the fact that prayer works. Let's not be ignorant, okay, about what I'm saying. I know prayer works because I'm still here. And I'm here because it's the will and by the grace of God. However, my quality of life have improved because I do take medication. And I'm not ashamed of that. You can say what you want to say, but because I decided to get the help I needed, that's how I was able to write 4 books and produce 4 books in 1 year. And all of my books now are on Amazon. 2 of them are on Kindle, so I don't get into all of that, well, all you need is Jesus. I don't get into all of that. Well, Christians shouldn't take medicine. I don't get into all of that. Preachers shouldn't be going to see a psychiatrist. Preachers shouldn't be on medication. I don't get into all of that. I just don't. I don't allow myself to get into any of that. Um, let's see, I think we got shut off. I don't know what happened. I think the other one went out. Um, let's see. I don't know how that happened, but hold on. I'm going to come back. Um, let me come out of here. Uh, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, guys. One of the devices got cut off. I've never had this many devices keep shutting down on me. So you know we're hitting some targets tonight with this particular subject, and we are hopefully making an impact. Um, if you are on YouTube, please let me know if you can see me clearly, because I had to shut it down and bring it back up. All right. Okay, let's see. See if we can get these guys back. No, we can't get them back. Let's see. Let's see if I can get them back. Okay, well, I can't get them back, unfortunately. So you guys that are on this page, I need you to come over. I need you guys to go over to my other page, okay? Go over to Benita Bradley's page if you're watching, all right? All of my devices are shut down at one time. Let's see. Let's see. Um, hmm. Let's see. I don't know how to do that on here. Oh, let's see. I don't know what's going on. Everything just shut down. And I don't know how to do live on this. Phone shut down. and it's on charge. I don't know why it shut down. Never done that before. Only thing. Facebook? I was trying to get on Facebook on this one, but because I was on Instagram over here, but then this one started going down. No, it's okay. Because my phone dead and it's plugged up. It's never done that before. None of this stuff has done that before. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's the only one working, but I don't know how to go live on here. We still on YouTube. They don't need a go live option. What's this? That's Instagram. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. People on there. That's the mark I use for the monitor. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I can go live on the other page. Have you went live on Facebook on the iPad before? Yeah, but from Renita Bradley Ministries, not my personal page. Come on back in. I'm sorry we're having technical difficulties. That's when you know you got a really, really hot subject. All of my devices just shut down at one time. And the funny thing about it is all of them are plugged in. So they should not have shut down. I already had to bring YouTube back. I just had to bring Instagram back. Now we're trying to get Facebook back. And like I said, everything is plugged in. So nothing should have just gone. It is charging. It's never done that before. And so, again, that's how you know. See, it'll come on. My phone will come on, but it keeps shutting off. But anyhow, while she's working on that, I'm gonna keep talking about what I was talking about. And I was talking about how we should not be afraid to go and get the help we need, even if we have to have medication, because medication, you know, it's not a cure-all, but sometimes it's just a means to an end. You know, it's something to give you a better quality of life. It's something just to help you make it from one stage to the next until complete healing in whatever area you may need healing in can come about. Or medication will help you just to, you know, if there's a chemical imbalance in the brain or something else is, you know, kind of off balance, it'll help bring those things back into proper alignment so that you can function and have quality of life versus just suffering in silence and just going about, you know, your day as if. Okay. So, um, can we get it back? What about the phone? Keep shutting off. Never done that before. Don't take it out. Charging 3%. It was just saying 4, now it says 8%. Right. No. Yeah. So it's clear. Make sure everything clear. Sorry. Okay. See if it'll let you open the Facebook. Currently too low to run. What did it say? Okay. I don't know. It says to stop. Open app again. But anyhow, I was saying medication is not a sin. And number 5 is the main one I want to talk about. And then I guess I'll be done. Uh, we have this thing that we like to tell each other, well, you got to just press through it, press through it. Sometimes the greatest mistake we make is telling each other we need to press through something when we should be sitting down. Ah, it cut off again. Is that we should be sitting down? Well, listen, if I have to, we'll do this again tomorrow. You know, normally I don't like to come on back to back, but hey, whatever I got to do to get the information out to you, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So tonight, because everything has shut down, we're going to end this session. But guess what? We're going to come right back tomorrow. Probably it'll be a little earlier tomorrow. Um, it'll be after church time or maybe a little bit before that. But I will be back tomorrow. We're going to see what's going on because, like I said, my devices are just not, for some reason, they're not charging. And this has never happened where we just lost everything at one time. So we just know that we're onto something here. All right. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I am your host, Benita, and you have been watching What's on Your Mind. Remember, this month is National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. So make sure you check on all your friends and your families, and make sure you encourage somebody. All right. Until next time, you guys be encouraged and know that I love you. Bye-bye.